Today I'm taking you through the back 9 here at Kota Permai Golf Club. Obviously this is not the same day as my previous Kota Permai video, but we're back again today for the second time around, so this time I wanted to showcase the back 9. Kota Permai is definitely one of the more challenging courses out in Malaysia for several reasons, so let's go through this round and see what we learned today.
Shot.
This fairway has kind of a funny slope right in the center where if you hit one side it's going to kick right and one side is going to kick left. The last time that I played here, my ball kicked left and I had about 100 yards into the green. Today my ball kicked right and I am blocked by the trees. So the pin is located right in between the trees, and this is my first of the day, so this probably wasn't the smartest choice, but sometimes when the opening is staring at you in the face, it's kind of difficult to play the quote-unquote smart shot here.
Watch out. Almost right at you guys.
After that, I would like to say that I took my medicine, but again, like you can see, there isn't really much room at all here. You just kind of have to find a hole and try to hit through it, because if not, you're probably going to be chipping out backwards. After that, I put myself on the left side of the green, which really isn't too bad at all, considering the position that I was in. This is a bit of an uphill chip. Don't really know how the ball is reacting yet today, but obviously we want to try to get this close.
Nice one.
After all that, we've got an important putt here for bogey. Sometimes it doesn't matter who you are, pro, amateur, beginner. Not every hole is considered equal, and a putt for bogey sometimes can be more important than a putt for birdie. So after that, it's nice to follow it up with a short hole. We definitely don't want to have another interesting hole like we just did. So on this hole, we are aiming towards that bunker. It's right around 250 from the tee box to reach it. With the wet conditions today, it's not going to get there for me. So just aiming towards the left side here. Also, because if you hit it towards the right side, it tends to kick right into one of those hills. And because of the wet conditions, you might have a bad lie as well. So I put myself in a good position here, like you can see, short of that bunker. So because today's pin is behind, we've got a pretty relatively easy pin position. The last time that I played here, the pin was in front, and in Kota Permai, you definitely want to make sure that you give yourself good yardages into this green, because the last time that I had a kind of awkward 50-yard shot to the front pin, it was much harder than if I have, for instance, like today, I have an 85-yard shot. So you do want to be a little bit smarter with your planning and how you approach the greens here. Also because you can't get much spin around these greens. So on the first hole, I mentioned that this course is one of the difficult courses in Malaysia, or more specifically in Kuala Lumpur, and one of the reasons why is definitely because of the greens. Not only can they have very fast greens, but also they have a lot of slope and undulation on the greens. So even though I hit that pretty good, I'm still giving myself like a 20-footer here, much further than I would expect, just because the ball didn't stop, and over there where the pin is, it is downhill. So it's pretty hard to get the ball to spin. So unless you're a local, you probably know that you need to hit this and land this short of this pin to give yourself more of an uphill putt. From back here too, I didn't realize that it was quite severely downhill down green. So you can definitely leave yourself in tricky situations. Like I said, this is a short hole, but even from a short hole, you can tell that it's not easy. Happy to walk away with a par safe there. Next up, we have an uphill par 5. So on this hole, you can definitely favor a little bit more towards the left side unless you can carry those bunkers on the right. But again, you would probably have to be a fade player because like you can tell, there's a tree on the right side as well. So again, the tee shots here are not necessarily the most tricky, I would say. There is quite a lot of room out there. However, there tends to be like trees and bounces that can put yourself in bad positions even when you hit good shots. So I think you definitely need to choose when you want to be aggressive and conservative on this golf course, as well as knowing where to miss. So again, you can see here from the left side, the further left that you go, the more you're going to be blocked by those trees because the green is down the left side. So for instance, if you're a player that hits longer and think that you can approach this green in 2, those trees on the left side are going to block you. So like I said off the tee, this hole definitely favors a fade. If not, you're probably going to have to hit something shorter just to put yourself somewhere on the fairway, because if not, you're probably not going to be in a good position to attack the green anyway. So for me, with this uphill wet conditions, I'm not going to get it close to the green. So just going full send here. After that, I had 61 yards to a front pin. So again, this is one of those holes where you don't necessarily have to hit it as far as you possibly can unless you can go for the green, because this green is also very tricky. Like from this pin position, you most likely don't want to get it past the pin because it's going to be a very downhill slider. Every pin position on this green has its challenges. I would say the easiest pin would definitely be the center pin, and the back pin can be very, very challenging, especially when the greens are running at around 12 or 13. So I kind of tugged my chip there, as you could tell, but I didn't leave myself in the worst position. This is actually probably the best position that you can be in for this pin. Obviously, we would like it to be closer, but this is the only location where you're going to have an uphill into the green putt, so you can be pretty aggressive with this putt. So next up, another par 4. Again, you can see lots of trees, dog legs. If you get the round bounce here, it's not going to leave you in a good position. Ideally, I should be carrying those bunkers down the left side, but on this hole, it never really feels very comfortable for me to do so. So also because I'm not hitting my driver that great today, it's not going super far, so I decided to just kind of hit more of an easy shot, an easy fade shot, to know that I would not have to take the super aggressive line and just put myself somewhere on the fairway. So taking the conservative line definitely means that you're going to have a longer approach shot into this green. It's again kind of a tricky green where if you hit it past the slope that you're going to be able to see later on, which is on a green, there's a high chance you're going to be at the back of the green. But if you don't hit it past that slope, there's a chance that you're not going to be on the green. So you'll see what I'm talking about later on. I carried this ball right towards the front of the green, and that meant that it was coming all the way back down here to the collection area, as you can see. From here, it's a bit of a tricky chip because you need to kind of get it past that slope, but again, like I said, similar situation with the approach shot. If I carry it too far, there's not much spin on these greens at all, but if I carry it too low, then I'm not going to be able to get it all the way up there. So I decided to go with a little bit of a stronger loft club here. So next up, we have a very harmless looking par 3, downhill 150 yards. However, what you cannot see here is there is bunkers lining the entire front of the green, and past those bunkers, the entire green is downhill. So like I said, there are not much spin on these greens right now. Unless you're hitting something like a pitching wedge, chances are you should not be super aggressive with this shot. I think a lot of people see it as a short downhill par 3 and they try to be super aggressive with it, but if you leave yourself in those bunkers that are short of the green, chances are the best score you're going to make is a bogey, because like I said, past those bunkers are all downhill, so it's very hard to stop the ball. So you do want to be a little bit more conservative here, carry it all the way to the pin, and don't try to be too cute here, because a lot of times people try to be too aggressive and end up having a big score on what is a relatively easy looking hole. I think you can kind of see from this frame here on the right side what I was talking about, how everything is downhill and going away from the greens, so it's going to be very very quick and very hard to stop the ball. So chances are everything is going to be past this pin, which is good in a sense because you're going to have an uphill putt. So most of the time when you're on the left side of the screen here, which is where the screen is, you're going to be able to be pretty aggressive with it because you're putting uphill into the green. Where I am here is probably one of the ideal positions to be in because you get a pretty relatively simple uphill putt as well. So let's see if we can have a go here at birdie.
Try.
Next up, we have another par 4, pretty long one. I think this is one of the index holes on this golf course, and we've got a whole ton of bunkers out there placed in very strategic positions, and I think that is one of the things that they're very good at here. There are 2 bunkers down the left side, which obviously is a little bit close to the water for you to want to carry, and there's a bunker down the right side further right, which is a pretty easy carry. But the one further kind of right in the center of the fairway is definitely the one that traps everyone. So that is kind of the perfect line. So for this tee shot, I was just trying to aim there and hopefully keep myself out of it, but I wasn't really sure if I was going to reach there. So just trying to hit a good drive here and see what happens. So I did end up reaching that bunker, and I think you can tell from this screen there isn't a rough surrounding the bunker, which a lot of courses do have, which kind of prevents the ball from rolling into that. So this is definitely a trap bunker. A lot of people that hit what they think is perfect shots is going to end up in this bunker. So for the shot, I had 150 yards. Thankfully, it was a front pin, so I didn't have to hit more than that. So trying to get my 7-iron here, main priority is obviously to make sure that I clear that lip right in front and hopefully just put myself somewhere close to the green. So I was favoring the right side of this green because I knew that the left side everything is going to kick further left. However, I don't think that this is the best place to miss it because from here everything is downhill down green. Again, one of those things where if you're not going to hit the green, it's probably better to give yourself an uphill into the green chip or putt. So even though the left side does seem more daunting, I would say that if I was in the same position, I would probably just try to favor the left side because it's going to give me a much easier chip from there. So I haven't really been making my birdie putts, but I have been making my par putts, which maybe kind of shows you the importance of giving yourself uphill putts on this golf course, because I have definitely been trying to chip to give myself uphill putts whenever I miss the green. So moving on to the next hole, which is again a bit of a difficult tee shot, especially if you're a draw player like me. Obviously you want to favor the right side here because everything down the left will kick left, and there is a little bit of a hump down the right side. I don't know if you can see it, but that's kind of always my target on this hole, because if you hit it there, obviously it's going to kick left, and also if you hit it down that line, chances are you're not going to be blocked by those trees down the right side. On this tee shot, I really just try to hit it as straight as possible without a draw, so I usually just kind of tee down a little bit more and just have more of a smooth swing on this hole just to put myself somewhere in the fairway. So the next hole is a pretty long and difficult par 3. I mean, for me it's 192 yards. So also pretty undulating greens, pretty difficult as you can see here. You don't want to go left because you're going to have one of those difficult downhill chips. But if you go down the right side, there is more of a rough situation. However, I would definitely say that you want to favor the right side because that would at least give you an uphill chip and you can be a bit more aggressive with it, versus if you're down the left side, which is going to be pretty much just trying to keep it on the green at that point. So I hit a good shot, but I was a little bit in between clubs and decided to go for the shorter one because, like I said, you don't really want to be over here. So it ended up kicking into that downslope there, which is really the collection area that most balls are going to go to unless you land it perfectly on the green. You can't see the bunkers from here, but I think you could tell from the tee box that there were bunkers. So for me, from this position, I had a bit of a downhill slope, so it wasn't a great position to be in. I think this is also one of those positions where you can get a very good lie and have an uphill pretty easy chip, or you can get a downhill lie, which is not going to be the easiest because you still need a bit of height on this chip. So yeah, unfortunately didn't get a great lie, but just trying to get it as close as possible here and hopefully give myself a decent look at par. So we've made it to the last hole of this 9, and I really just wanted to make a birdie here because I have not made a single birdie on this 9. So off the tee box, just trying to go with a more conservative route, because if I hit a driver, I kind of need to aim towards more of the right side of fairway, which I didn't really feel comfortable with. Whereas if I hit a 3-wood, I kind of have the entire fairway to work with, because unless I pull it, I'm not going to reach that left bunker. So like I said, I really want a birdie here, so just putting myself somewhere in the fairway for the tee shot is important, because this is not going to be a 2-shot par 5 for me. After that, all I really needed to avoid is the bunkers down the left side, but none of them were really in play. So I do have a lot of fairway to work with. I was trying to favor the right side here just to give myself a better angle into the green and just to completely take those bunkers out of play, because as you can tell as well, there's a tree overhanging the left side. So if I wanted to overtake that side, I would have to hit more of a high draw, which is not the easiest shot. So we're just trying to make this a 3-shot par 5 anyway, just keep ourselves in play. So to be honest, I didn't hit the best second shot and I went way too far right, so I ended up leaving myself in the rough. But I got a good lie, so it wasn't too bad. The pin position was in front though, so I knew that I had to be pretty precise with this shot. I'm a bit uphill with this rough lie, which is cowgrass rough, so it's going to take a little bit of distance off. So I'm taking a club longer, and as you can tell, gripping down quite a bit. So especially for this pin position, I really put myself in the most ideal spot here. It's a very tricky one. I don't know if you can tell, but if you hit it anywhere past the pin, especially on the left side, you're most definitely going to run down that slope, which is going to give you a minimum of like a 30-footer. So I put myself in prime position here, and let's hope we make this last putt to finish the vlog off with a birdie.